All right, just giving it another couple seconds here. Thank you again to everyone for coming. I know that we are, everyone's dealing with some challenging things. So just wanted to remind everybody, take a deep breath in and out and know that you are capable of handling anything that comes your way. I was just wondering, just for full disclosure, everyone should be muted as you've come into the event. If in the chat, if you can please confirm you can hear me okay, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much for confirming that you can hear me. Thank you all. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Right. All right, so just getting ready to share my screen here. Thank you all for being so patient. That's really very kind of you. All right, so tonight we are going to be talking about dealing with other people, particularly how to deal with people who make us feel bad. So if everyone can remain muted during the presentation, and then once the talk is over, you'll have a chance to ask some questions. Right. Just give me a few seconds here. Just want to make sure I have everything ready to go. Okay. All right, so good evening. I'm your host. My name is Coach Staci Ann, and I am here to help you along your journey on dealing with people who make you feel bad as part of our speaker series and confidence building. Can everyone see the presentation okay? If anybody, if you can just write in the chat, let me know if you can see my screen. Great. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much, Evie. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. And for some reason, there we go. All right, so thank you again for joining me on this journey. As I said before, this talk is going to be around a 25-minute presentation followed by a short Q&A. So just a little bit of a background on me. If you haven't seen my other videos, I am a certified middle school teacher in New Jersey. I have 5 master's degrees, and I am currently working on a doctorate in organizational psychology. But please note that I am not a certified doctor or therapist or psychologist, just for full disclosure. But I am someone with my master's degree in education. I have a master's in business administration with a focus in project management, a master's in human resource management, master's in information systems management, and a master's in public administration is where my degrees are right now. And my certifications as a teacher is in middle school math and language arts. And you are welcome, Sharon. I appreciate your kind words. And for some reason, okay. So let's talk about other people and how they can hurt us in so many ways. And I know that there are a lot of behaviors that can be very toxic, and it can be very hurtful, the way that some people behave. And full disclosure, I feel that I'm someone who's grown up with around a lot of toxic people and people who purposely or not purposely, hurt me and have hurt others that I know. And so I know that dealing with people who um, have this attitude, have these behaviors, is can be very detrimental to so many of us as we try and be successful in our lives. And the most important way that it generally affects us is it takes away our confidence and self-esteem. Often when we're dealing with toxic people or people who try to make us feel bad, which I tended to call toxic, it's because they have some kind of um, personal, personality characteristic flaw or some kind of personality disorder, which can include narcissistic behavior disorder, sociopathic disorder, psychopathic disorder. These are just a few of what could be causing them to be toxic, to be manipulative, to want to control others or to hurt others. There's also people who have a lack of empathy. And when I say lack of empathy, what I've learned is um, being able to feel what someone else is feeling is requires a gene that not everyone has. And not everyone has it to the same degree. So often what's happening is people can hurt you because they can't feel your pain. They can't feel your hurt. They can't emphasize with you. They can just kind of throw their pain and their aggravation, their problems at you. And it's really not even occurring to them that they're hurting you because they lack the ability to emphasize. Now, I'm not saying that that's the reason in every situation, but it's important to know that it is out there. And I would encourage you to look up the statistics to see how many people have this kind of disorder or they're lacking this gene. They tend to be um, kind of those people who unfortunately end up in jails or prisons, for committing crimes. One of the reasons they're committing the crimes, they can't feel the empathy. One of the reasons. I'm not saying it's the only reason, but just putting it out there as an example. So let's talk about you. What is it that you can do? And here's one thing: your confidence is your power. What I've found about manipulators, I call them the people who are manipulating us, right, in a way to make us feel bad, because if we're left feeling bad, we must have been manipulated or mistreated in some way, shape, or form. So, what I have found is manipulators look for these things. They look for people who are showing some kind of weakness. And I hate to have to think that way because, I like to be kind to people and I don't like to think that, well, somebody's looking at my kindness as a weakness. And I don't believe that kindness is a weakness. But I think confidence in knowing who we are and knowing that we can stand up for ourselves. We can express how we feel in a way that is going to be um, suitable and appropriate, and it's going to allow us to show our confidence. Um, so what is going to, one of the things that can stop a manipulator or toxic people is when you show them that confidence and that self-esteem, and that you're not allowing them to dump their toxic behaviors or things that they say on you. You're stopping it by showing your confidence, because you need to stop that before it comes at you. Right. So, another reason why manipulators try and manipulate, they try to wreak havoc in other people's lives. And there is mainly usually because they're hurting in some kind of way. There's something going wrong for them. There's something that they can be upset about, and they are manipulating as a way of dealing with that, as a way of kind of spreading it around instead of dealing with it in a more healthy way, which may be speaking with a therapist, reading positive things, working, finding somebody who can help them work through their issues. So, what can we do? One thing is to try and step back from the situation, which I know is often difficult. One thing about manipulators, they tend to be so good at sucking people in to their drama, to whatever they've got wrong. This is what I've witnessed in my life. I've known some people who, they can make things sound so good and dramatic, and oh, they're going through this or that, and oh, they just need you to do this or that for them. And oh, they can come up with these really dramatic stories about what's going on, and they can just suck you in like these television shows. Some of them should be just like sales or marketing people. They can be so good at it. And what you need to do is recognize it. So if you've been through situations with a person where they're toxic, they're causing trouble for you, then if you continually allow yourself, and you are in control of you, if you are allowing yourself to be sucked in by their manipulations, then it's your fault. So, what are you going to do? You are going to recognize the manipulations that the other person does to you sooner, so you can step back from the situation and not allow yourself to be drawn into it. Try not to return the pain by flipping the projection around, whatever they're projecting on you, which can further engage them, right? Because manipulators tend to be this, big dramatic person where, they've got this or that, or, they just have these, can have these crazy stories or just crazy situations going on, that problems they may have gotten themselves into that they need you to get them out of. Well, it's not up to you to get them out of it. You need to be in control and realize when you're being sucked in to a situation. All right. So this is what I call rising above the manipulation. So you're like you're floating up and you're looking at things from the top. You're looking at the big picture and saying, what's really going on here? Is this person just being needy? Are they just doing things irresponsibly? What's going on? So you want to make sure you're not lowering yourself into their version of reality, right? So they may also be blowing things up bigger than they really are. And the reason I was explaining before, what the reason is that people do this is I find it personally helpful to know what what's causing it. I find that it's personally helpful to me because when I know why someone is doing it, kind of getting to the root. Oh, okay, so they have this personality type. Okay, so they are lacking empathy. It kind of allows me to step back and see the big picture and how to um, deal with them more effectively. Saying, okay, am I really the right person to help this person? Do they need therapy, someone to talk to? Am I dealing with a narcissist? And if you want to, I'm not going to go into the definition of narcissist, although I think that it, it's more common than some people might think. I think they're just not studied because narcissists don't tend to go for assistance. Um, but if you want to know more about that, I would encourage you to do research on that. So, and then just trying to find out the reason for their manipulation. What are they hiding? Why are they trying to manipulate you? So when sometimes we have to separate ourselves and love people from afar. There's some people that, and they can be related to us, good friends, and we can, they can be close to our hearts, but there's some instances where we can't be around that person as much as we wish we could due to what their personality type is and how it affects us. And can be very difficult and challenging, but you would have to assess the situation and see what's right for you. Sometimes, and then there's situations, you calmly and respectfully remove yourself from the situation. Sometimes manipulators, people who make us feel bad, they want to work you up into their frenzy, I call it. So remaining calm and not allowing yourself to get wrapped up in their frenzy and making sure you are recognizing what's happening, that can help you to not get hurt. Sticking to refusals, to be there for somebody who is really being dramatic or being toxic, can be tough, but you need to stick to your guns sometimes for your own well-being and benefit. You don't want to back down, and it's going to take practice. There's some people, they can suck you in. It's like, oh, I tried to stay away. I tried, but then they just sucked me back in. Give kindness to yourself and just go on and try again. All right. So because you want to put yourself first. And sometimes this is very hard for many people to do. You want to do the pros and cons, look at the value of your relationship with this person, but you don't want to risk your own well-being. Sometimes the person will act like, oh, they desperately need your help. I've had that where I've been manipulated. I've been manipulated multiple times by the same people. And it's like, oh, they always seem to need my help when they need it. And it's like, it's only when it's good for them, not when it's good for me. If I need them, they're never there. But if they need me, I have to be there for them. And the thing to remember is healthy relationships involve both give and take, right? So if you're always giving and they're always taking, and they never give to you, that should be an indicator that there's a problem there. When you are talking to this person, you want to use I statements. So the way we use these I statements, instead of saying, oh, well, you always do this to make me mad, or you're always doing that, that's not going to work with a manipulator. We want to think more in terms of I statements, where I feel that what you're saying is very hurtful to me. I feel you are not thinking about my feelings. I feel I am always giving and you are always taking, right? Those are just a few examples of ways to make your feelings heard to a manipulator, because they're not going to hear things like, oh, well, you always borrow this and you never give it back, or you always do this or that. No, I feel really hurt when you borrow something and you don't give it back. And how can we deal with that? How can we make that better? So being heard and using these statements are also ways to, and sometimes you have to say it multiple times, right? Until the manipulator hears you. Because I've been with manipulators, I can be talking about things going on with me and they don't even hear me. I can say to them, what did I just say? They have absolutely no idea, because they're not listening. They're just thinking about what's going on in their head. So you want to watch out for that. And remember, you are worth it. You are worth it. Don't allow manipulators to destroy your life. Take deep breaths, inhaling positive reminders of your true worth, because there are people who want to destroy other people. And again, I'm not a therapist. Okay. I can't give you the reasons for this, but it's out there. And I would just encourage you, when you discover it, to use these techniques to try and work through the situation. All right. Remember, you have the power. There's many people who fall into who fall victim to manipulators because they feel powerless to them. You feel like you have to say yes. You feel like you have to fall into um, their craziness. Okay, you have the power over you. You decide who you talk to. You decide where you want to be. So it's up to you. You know, when I run events, I'll have people say to me sometimes, oh, Staci, you know, I didn't like what this person said or what that person said, or I was in a room with this person, that person. Here's what I say. I can't control everyone, but you have the power to be where you want to be. If you're with someone you don't feel comfortable with, you can leave the event. You can leave the Zoom. No one is making you be someplace you do not want to be. And something else with a manipulator, toxic people, depending on what is the root cause for them to be the way they are, is we can offer compassion for them, but trying to fix them will usually drive us in circles and cause us to not be able to help them. Because if there's someone who doesn't have an empathy gene or doesn't have a strong empathy gene, you're not going to be able to give it to them. you just can't. It's genetic. If you don't have it, you don't have it, right? If you're a narcissist, you're not going to be able to fix a narcissist. I wish I could say you could, but there are some books on it. So if you find you're dealing with someone like that, I would encourage you, do your research, see what you think about that. But what I care about is how you are. And sometimes you can care for people, but we can't fix anyone. You control you. We don't control everyone else, right? So that brings us to the end of the points that I wanted to go over with for you tonight. I see there are some things in the chat. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry if occasionally the sound is lost. I'm sorry that happened. Um, so if you like what you hear and you want to hear about my coaching services, feel free to reach out to me at coachstaciann@yahoo.com. You can also write to me through the meetup group. And I do have a website. I am working on improving it. So I did want to put it out there because I feel like when I put it out there, that motivates me to work on making sure that that I get that website updated. So I thought I did want to give a little bit of a Q&A or get some feedback if anyone has any. So you are muted, but feel free to take yourself off of mute if you have something that you would like to share or contribute.
I have a question. After getting out of a relationship with someone that was a manipulator, how do you build up your self-confidence and your self-esteem after the fact?
Janice, thank you so much for asking that question. That is so important. And I actually just made a little note as you were saying that because I will work on a specific talk for that because that is one of the most painful things to go through is that loss of self-esteem and self-confidence coming out of the relationship. So I will applaud you that you were able to make that separation. And I would say, look, read books. I would also say, do things that support who you are. Get involved with groups that maybe you want to volunteer. I would strengthen your relationships with other people. Anything that builds your confidence, work on learning new skills, work on taking classes. There's like YouTube trainings, maybe you can work on improving skills for your job, or if you want a promotion, if you're in the workforce. I would do anything that makes you feel good about you. And a lot of times doing that involves like learning some new things, sharing things that you learn. Maybe you're artistic or maybe you're technical, whatever it is. I'd really hone in on doing that. Do some self-improvement. Maybe you want a makeover. Maybe you want to go out and mingle. Maybe you want a part-time job, making new friends. Those are all things to make yourself feel good about yourself. Build, strengthen relationships with others, strengthen your relationships with the community is definitely where I would start. But I will work on some more ideas too in another presentation. But I really appreciate that input.
Thank you very much. That was helpful.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you. That's very important to me. Any other? Hi.
Hi, sorry, I missed, I didn't realize the time with the time change.
That's okay.
Will it be recorded? Will I be able to access the recorded presentation?
You will be. I will put the recording link out there. And I understand, I
Okay.
know the time change. Um I was thinking about that too. I know that's tough adjustment.
Yeah. So I was having this like happened 2 years ago, and for some reason I'm still looking for answers. And it was a very a short, like, it was not a relationship as yet, but it was moving very quickly. And like, I think he was using tactics like a manipulator or narcissist would use, like, to love bomb me. So like we texted for a whole month, and like nonstop, like from 9 a.m. to like when we go to sleep. And then we finally met. And then I don't know, I think I like fell in love by texting so much. And then fast forward a few months later, he asked me to go on a trip with his friends. And they were not like, he, I don't know, understand, like he switched on the plane.
Yeah.
And like he was just like flirting with his friend's wife. It was very uncomfortable for me. And
Okay.
I was there for 5 days. I couldn't leave. I had to deal with it, like, not by, like, just by dealing with it, by like putting it under the rug and not bringing up my feelings or anything. And I think that was like traumatic. And then he didn't like, we got into a fight because of his way, like the way he was acting. Like
Okay.
he was just like waiting for me to have a fight there, because he even say like, why don't we like get into a fight? And I was like, we're in this beautiful place, why would I want to get into a fight? But he was like trying to like do all these things, like to get on my nerves, and like to make me like, to like be angry or like get into a fight with him. And it like, I couldn't take it anymore on the last night, because they were like, he was flirting with his friend's wife, and his friend and her husband was right there. And I just like couldn't take it anymore. And I kind of like got into a fight with him in front of everybody on the last night. And then he got like upset that I got mad. And he when we came back, we I never saw him. He just like broke up with me by text, which was like, he waited like 2 weeks until Valentine's Day to do it by text. Um, and I don't understand like why somebody would like do that.
How old, can I ask the age? Not that I think it matters because I've seen all different ages, but I was just kind of
Sorry,
curious.
my age. We are both
No, or his
35.
age? Okay. Okay.
We were both, no, at the time, we were both 33.
So, first of all, what we need to recognize is, this is my favorite thing. Easier doesn't equal better. So we have these wonderful technologies that have come into play, and it's called texting. And oh, wow, I can text with anybody, and I don't have to open my mouth or use one iota bit of energy. I can just text tons of people all over day and night, and I don't have to show them who I really am. Right? I don't have to show them who I am. He didn't have to show you. You allowed him to hide from you.
Yeah, he was
You
presenting himself
allowed
like the
him.
perfect person that I was
That's right.
waiting
So
for.
remember, okay, and and I say this because I have fallen victim to it too. Okay. I have fallen victim to this. Okay. So this is why I can say this. If you cannot get somebody to speak with you on the phone and meet them in a relatively short time of starting to text them, they are not going to be good for you. Okay. Red flag. If they can only text and cannot hold a conversation, they are a loser. Okay. That's number one thing to remember. Here is where we are all being manipulated. Okay. And forgetting 90% of communication is nonverbal. What does that mean? I need to see you in person, head to toe, and I need to read all of the nonverbals that you give off. Do you look at other women? Is it a woman? Do you look at other men? How do you talk? How do you treat people? What comes out of your mouth? You have got to know these things to know a person. If you have only texted somebody, you are not in love with that person. You have no relationship with that person because you do not know if they are real. You do not know what they are all about. Okay, that's why he is showing you his true colors. There are also people, and I've met them, I have some in my family, who get rises for whatever reason off of arguments, fighting with people. I actually have an aunt and uncle, and I swear that they're just together, like, because they just love to fight with each other. There are some people like that. And why did he do it on Valentine's Day? Because he knew it would piss you off and cause you to fight more with him. That's the only reason. I'm sorry, I don't have better news. But be glad you got away from that person. And I know, but texting, oh, it's so easy. We love it. Oh, my phone, I can't live without it.
Yeah.
However,
and then I went on that trip, and I was like invested time and money, and like it's like you think of going, it's going to be like a paradise, like a dream, and it's the complete opposite. Like my mind can like comprehend, because like if I'm in a beautiful blue beach, like the Caribbean, you think it's like gonna be nice, but it was the opposite. It's like
I'm
very
so sorry you had to learn that way, but I would just use that as a learning experience. Like I've learned, like I've fallen victim to these texting things where, oh, the guys, they want to text. And then I've had guys screaming and yell at me, you don't text back right away, because I texted them back within an hour. You don't text fast enough. Well, you know what? You don't know how to have a conversation with somebody. So guess what? I want nothing to do with you. If you can't talk to me with your mouth, sounds coming out of your mouth, texting is not a conversation. Okay. If you cannot hold a conversation, you are not someone I want to be in a relationship with. Because what happens if we're in a relationship, we're married, I have a problem, I can only text you. You're stupid enough to not have verbal communication skills. You don't know how to talk to people. Guess what?
Yeah, he's not very emotional. I think because maybe his line of work, he's a cop, so I don't think he's like a very talks about his feelings.
And the sad part is, like, this texting, and I feel like it's just totally ruined relationships and romance, unfortunately, because in this online dating, and I have a talk coming up about why online dating doesn't work for everyone. It's like there are people who have trouble expressing themselves verbally, and this is like a cop out. I'm holding my phone here. And sorry, I have a virtual background, so I know it goes in and out a little, but this is the cop out. And not to reference just because they have a police officer, but this is like a way out for people who can't verbalize. And so it's like, oh, but it's easier. Easy. That's, that's my annoyance where I'm like, yes, but easier isn't better. Easier isn't going to allow you to form a solid relationship with someone, because relationships take communication. And for full and appropriate communication to take place, it must be in person and verbal. So, and I've talked to guys, I'm like, oh yeah, he sounds so nice. Not till I talk to him do I know if he's nice. Do I know, is he a jerk? Do I know, is he somebody who has manners? Do I know, is he somebody who is kind? Is he somebody funny? You can't tell this from just text messages. Like, unless it's somebody maybe you've known for years, but you know them in real life. Text messages is not real life. I'm sorry. I know it seems like it, but it's like, but Staci, you're wrong. Let me ask you this. If I'm so wrong, have you had something successful work out of not meeting a person or not having a conversation? I would question it, but yeah, I'm sorry. But I would take it as a lessons learned.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, of course. I think let me just see, I have, and Anna, I know women, we're so vulnerable to words. It's so easy because we want to believe we found the right person. And I want you to have found the right person, but we need to really think about these things logically. We need to really think, is this technology benefiting us or is it hindering us? I like to approach technology to say, give me tips on making my relationship better. Show me how to do it better. Not just do it for me or take it over for me and force me to um, not think or not take any kind of action. If you don't put in any kind of effort, you're not going to get effort in return. So remember that. No effort in doing anything for the relationship, you're not going to get any effort in return. So, but let me see, do we have any other questions? Oh, some people are chiming in. Why I stopped using online dating websites. I know that's so painful. And trust me, I've been there. I hate texting. I know. And it's not that I'm against it. I'm against just constantly only talking that way or just like constant little things. It's one thing. Okay. Hey, we're going out to dinner. Oh, hey, I'm in the car or somewhere where I can't talk and I'm running late. Right. So I feel like it should only be if I'm someplace where I can't have a conversation. So yeah. And let's see, did I have anything else? Sorry. Do more boundaries, red flags. I know, looking for those, one about, boundaries and red flags, doing a conversation. Carly, yes, I will work on that. Boundaries and red flags. Let me just take a note of that. That's it, because I feel like I've been through these things and I just want to share my lessons learned with people. So, and I'm definitely interested in hearing what others have to say. Any other thoughts for tonight? Anybody else have anything they wanted to talk about or share or?
I just typed in my questions.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. Okay.
I'm in a difficult spot because it's a close family member, and there are events where I can't say no. Like when you said say no, because it'll be very obvious to everybody that we're not getting along, or I don't like the way she treats me, or what have you. So I started taking my own car to places,
Okay.
where before we would all carpool, but I'm making up reasons for why I'm taking my car, because I don't want to be, if I want to get out of the situation, I want to get my own car and go home.
That sounds like a great solution. So you're definitely coming up with things as ways to separate yourself from that negative situation. And I know there's delicate balances in families, and when you come across that member and then you don't want it to explode to everybody else
Right.
as here's what's going on. um, I would I would definitely suggest looking for um, other ways to separate yourself and other ways to um, build your show confidence to this person. Make sure they're not seeing you as weak, where they're going to try to manipulate
I know, we're
you.
like this. I'm not weak. She's not weak.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it's like okay. Dominant coming across dominant. Okay.
Mhm.
Can you, delineate maybe one time she gives into your request and another time you're going to give into her request? Can you say, okay, well, last one time, can you do a trade-off? Would that work? Would making sure, like, maybe, breathing, of course, right? Taking some deep breaths when that person is getting under your skin. Could
And
you
I think,
work out some kind of a plan together? Could you discuss boundaries
no, we're way past that.
past that? Okay. Okay.
I think, like for instance, it's my sister and her husband had a birthday, and they took my mom out to dinner, and they knew I was off and didn't invite me, but I was kind of relieved that I was not invited. But I bought him a birthday present and gave it to my mother to give to him at dinner.
Okay.
So the next day, I get this long text on how great I am and how thoughtful that was, and oh, he loves it. And I'm like, we're grown-ups. He can tell me he likes it. I don't know why you're someone I don't communicate with on a regular basis, because we know we don't get along, is going on and on and on with that. And I
Mm,
thought, she's got to have an ulterior motive for doing that.
yeah.
And I just gave it the old thumbs up. It was a text. I just gave it a thumbs up and moved on.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, so there you go. You cut it off. You didn't give into the drama. So I would definitely applaud you for that. I would try and say, maybe, to avoid giving them something. So maybe you don't want them to give the gift. You find a way to give the gift, right?
Yeah, that's
Try
true.
not to go through them, because maybe it's just like habit and we don't think it's a big deal. But maybe you want to try and be like, they took that person to dinner. Wonderful. Maybe then you take the person, maybe then you go and visit that person on another day and you
Mhm.
share your gift personally with them.
Oh, I
Try
didn't
and
take I didn't take the gift. I gave the gift to my mother, who went to the dinner that I was not
Oh,
invited to.
okay. Oh,
I
okay.
was going to drop the gift off, and my brother-in-law said just put it in the mailbox, but not to be funny. It was liquor, so I was
Okay.
afraid someone would take it.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
gave it to my mother.
Okay.
But I don't want, like Christmas, like the whole time, even though the room's full of family, I want to stay as far away from her as I can, because she
Yeah.
tries to act like she's really I don't know, that you look really nice or whatever. And then later she'll say something like, why, if you really want to drink, why don't you get up and get it yourself? When she's giving everyone else drinks at the table. And I'm like, woo. And I can't leave because my mother and a couple other people would be
Yeah.
very upset.
Yeah.
So I have to watch it, because I don't take any, you know what, but it's
Right.
at the point where it's hurting other people, not us. It's hurting my daughter, who has a good relationship with her. So I
Okay.
can't confide into her. And my mother's like, I need my girls to get along.
Yeah.
And I pretend we are. But then I know my mom sees things and she's like, why did she do that to you? I'm like, I don't know. Why don't you freaking ask her? So I don't really, and I'm the oldest. Like, what the heck? So it's
Yeah.
bizarre. It's been going on for years, but it's getting worse as she's getting older.
And my mom and her family, she's one of 10, and
Oh my
that's
word.
how it progressed in her family too, where there were little things from years ago and it just kept snowballing and getting worse and worse. Um, and you've tried to talk to your sister, I would imagine, about it.
Yeah, we've tried to talk. The only time we can really talk is if she's got like a Jack and Coke in her. Then
Okay.
she's very laid back. She's very high strung.
Yeah. My
Um,
mom has a sister like that. I have an aunt.
and I'm
Yeah. And
like
she
laid
also
back,
has to be drunk
woo, don't
too.
care. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's getting worse. And I don't want my daughter, who's a young adult, not to see her aunt.
Sure.
But the
Sure.
last time she's home, she's like, Mom, if she's saying that to you, I'm not visiting her at all. And I don't
Yeah.
want that to happen.
Sure. Um,
So
maybe,
I don't tell anybody. And then I don't know what to do with it.
um, maybe, I don't know if there's, again, I'm not a counselor. I'm not
Mhm.
a certified therapist. I can only give general information based on my own experience at this point. I would say maybe there is a family type counselor who you could work with, who could give you some more like solid advice on that. I would say just try to be the bigger person and rise above it if it's, a matter for your family and your mom, and maybe try and use some I statements. But that would probably be the best I can offer you at this point, Sharon. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
no, it's okay. And then I looked into that. Everybody wants cash. They all want, $300 for their initial, 150. I'm like, dear Lord, this is not rocket science. You
Sometimes
know?
there are places that do things on scale. If you do some
Oh,
searching, believe it or not, I'm not sure where you're located. I'm in New Jersey, but there are places around that can offer that. Sometimes it depends on the degree of the person. So if you're working with like a social worker, they're usually going to
right,
be
right.
more inexpensive than like a
Mhm.
psychiatrist or a psychologist.
Is there
So
a
if
book or a website you would recommend? There's got
um
to be something out there how to deal with difficult family members. But there's probably so many I wouldn't know which one to get.
yes. And I've been trying to do it myself. It's kind of like um if you will email me, Sharon, I'm going to look for some resources that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I'll share some stuff with you if
Okay.
you write to me through the meetup, and I'll see what I
Okay, that'd
can
be
get over
great.
to. And I think I see one other hand up. Lamb? Is it Lamb? Did you have a hand
Yeah.
raised, or
Yes, I did. Hi.
hi?
Hi. Nice to be part of this group. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's only 13:32. I'll be back with that.
So I listened to your whole presentation and I found it very interesting. And this is what I have to say. I'm in a place, I'm not gonna say relationship, in a place where a woman is telling me everything that you have just said, meaning I'm the bad guy. And I'm in the situation where I'm trying to figure out, am I the bad guy or is something else going on here? And I was
Okay.
wondering if you can talk about that, because I've actually gone to a therapist too, and who's said I'm not a narcissist and all that.
Okay.
So what do you have to say to somebody who's trying to figure it out? What's real? What's going on?
Okay. So she's saying that as a result of what? Could you provide me with any additional?
Um, right. Well, it when I interact with people,
Okay.
every interaction is a little bit different. So like my interaction now with you is definitely a little bit different than my interaction with her. So sometimes when I'm with her, maybe it doesn't come out of me to talk so much of with her as I do for me. And then she'll say that I'm a narcissist because because that's the what, like, self-importance, right? That's an exaggerated self-importance.
Yeah, there's a few things going on with a narcissist. There's like about 10 different behaviors, not just
Right.
one.
Okay. So
With
I,
them.
I
Mhm.
yeah, so I'm just trying to look at myself. I'm like, am I that person? And of course, I don't want to be that person because I want positive things as well.
Okay.
So somebody so that person that's dealing with all that stuff, what can
Mhm.
they do other than, because like I said, I've also been to a therapist and it hasn't really worked that well. Because I think
Okay.
somebody really needs to understand you to really talk about you, you know? So anything you have to share on that?
Okay. So I guess like the more detail I'd want to know is how
Right.
you're interacting. So is this over text? Is this in person? Do you date this person? You go out with this person?
That's a good question. Yeah, because you mentioned that about tech. No, I actually prefer video calls. I actually
Okay.
want to see. So I actually, she's the one that doesn't prefer video calls. She's not that she prefers texting. She prefers phone calls or real life. But
Okay.
I'm trying to be as transparent as like, here I am, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not as self-aware. I don't know what I'm doing wrong,
Okay.
right?
And but you have met her in person.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Um, so she may just be panicking and be thinking that she's being manipulated. Maybe she was manipulated in the past. Maybe she's speaking to you as something that's hurt her before. And if she's not somebody who wants to communicate the way that you do, you may need to explore whether she's the right person for you.
Right, right.
Right. And yeah, I'm not looking to break anybody up.
No,
Look,
maybe video.
you know what? And relationships are hard. Okay. They take a lot of work, but not everyone, and I don't mean to just blame the texting. It's just so manipulative, and people are like falling for this, falling for this not full communication. And people of all ages are falling for it. It really doesn't matter. I've seen it at all different ages. But I would get her to pinpoint exactly what it is that you're doing that's bothering her.
Right.
Right. So, and then come to me. Well, if you wish, if you want to provide me, here's what she said to fill in the blanks, because maybe I
Mhm.
can speak to it more. It's just a little bit hard because I don't know exactly what it is that she's responding
Right.
to.
And
Maybe if you can get her to give you that information.
right.
But I would say explore whether you are really connecting with her then.
Right.
You know, make sure that you're listening to her, is what I say. Try to listen carefully, maybe take notes, get the detail, because the details are in the words. And sometimes you have to like piece different things together to figure out, is she just insecure? Is she lacking confidence? Was she hurt before? Where is this coming from in her mind? You got to like get a little bit more, and then that would help me speak a little bit more to that for you, Lamb.
Right. And I appreciate it. And I know I haven't given you much detail. I have a hard time sometimes expressing some things.
And you're not
And
alone. You're not alone. A lot of people do. Okay. I do this. I started giving these talks, and, not to go on a total tangent here, as a way for me to help express what was in my mind, because I've been a teacher. I actually do project management work now, and I'm working on this doctorate degree, and I've done different things, and I just have had it come to my head more and more, like, Staci, you need to help people. You need to give advice. You need to share these things as a way to help me to express myself more, as a way for me to practice my public speaking, as a way for me to do it. So that's
right.
part of why I offer it for free also, is because it helps me, hopefully, as much as it helps other people.
I totally understand. If I may, I actually started volunteering teaching exercise, and I've gotten better at understanding. So understand what you mean.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Running these meetup groups, I started another group last July, and it's just been so beneficial for me. I really, it's really helped me, and doing these talks that I've started with this meetup group has just meant so much to me, because I really feel like it's allowed me to express things that I've been thinking in my mind, but I'm not always saying, right? We kind of can easily get lost in our minds. And even that's why, like, the texting, it's another way to kind of like prohibit us from expressing ourselves verbally, which can be more beneficial as we can talk out things, which helps your mind to, you can sometimes realize things a little bit more effectively that way.
Yes. Thank you. I don't want to take up more time. Thank you.
No worries. You're welcome. Anyone else? And that's a great, Natalie, that's a great feedback for Lamb. She said to ask her why she thinks that you're a bad guy in her mind, where that's coming from. So, but all right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. And please feel free to email me if there's any other topics that you'd like to see me cover. Other than that, have a great week, and I wish you all the best.